All right. Hey, hey, hey. How are you, everyone? I am live and making sure. Okay, great. My sound is good. All righty. Welcome to another mic drop January. Almost forgot what it was called. Welcome to another mic drop January segment on the topic, the famous question part 2. On the 1st, January 1st, hello, Mother Joyce. January 1st, we talked about the first part. And so I did a second part because of some of your responses when to my post. And so I wanted to give another perspective on the famous question. What is the famous question? What do you want to be when you grow up? Every single one of us was asked that question as a child. So I'm going to save the announcements for the end. Hopefully y'all remember to do that. But I just really want to jump on in to this topic this evening. So remember last time I shared with you that 3 of my responses was I wanted to be a teacher, a writer, and an artist. And this was in the 3rd grade. Those responses did not change. They remained the same as I continued to grow up and evolve. However, there were some things added when I became older. So by the time I reached high school, one of the things that I added is that I wanted to work with youth. I wanted to work with adolescents and help them make a healthy transition from childhood to adulthood, because that's pretty much what the whole purpose of the teenage years is, to transition from childhood to adulthood. And another thing that I would say is that I wanted to have my own, whatever it is that I would do, I wanted to have my own. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur of some sort. And I am those things today as a freedom coach. And I want to share this in a way to where you can see how, although you may not be specifically what you said when you were a child, you are still to a degree that, because of your natural gifts and talents. Okay, so how am I doing what I said that I wanted to do at that time, as far as work with adolescents to help them make a healthy transition from childhood to adulthood? I am doing the exact same thing as a freedom coach, but I am helping adults come out of the bondage of arrested development to have a healthy maturation, to mature from a babe in Christ to a full-fledged adult in Christ with soul trauma recovery. That is what I do. And it's so ironic because one of my favorite quotes is from Frederick Douglass, and it says, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men, broken adults." And that is absolutely true. Oh my goodness. It's more work to engage with adults that are broken, but I absolutely love it. I love it because I am healing the child. God is using me to heal the child within them. So this is how it happens as far as arrested development. When we are children, we do not have the capacity to critically think. We do not have the capacity to process our emotions. Welcome to those of you who are chiming in. Let me know that you are here for the live broadcast. We don't even have the language to fully communicate our natural human responses to trauma. Anything that violates our internal sense of safety, security, and stability. That is what trauma is. That's our definition here in the Freedom from Trauma community. So we don't even have the language as children, and we don't have the ability to see the threat from multiple perspectives. We're very egocentric as children. And what happens is, because of that, when we experience these childhood traumas, if we don't go back and revisit, some parts of us is still arrested in that particular time. It may be emotionally, it may be mentally, it may be spiritually, it may be habitually, just our behavioral patterns, okay? And just our decision making in our will. And so we have to go back to revisit those things. And so one of the issues is that if we come into Christ and we only focus on the spiritual component, that doesn't bring us out of arrested development. We cannot grow in our spirituality without growing and evolving in our humanity. There has to be a holistic approach. We have to consider our humanity as well. And that is the process that I take those who come into my programs through. Now, this is 1 Corinthians 13:11, when Paul says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. Many of us have become adults in age, but we have yet to put away childish things because it's combined with our trauma responses, our coping mechanisms, our defense mechanisms that we have put in place to preserve ourselves amid our childhood traumas. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Am I making sense? Let me know in the comments if this is clear. So that is how now the Lord is using me to do exactly the things that I said I wanted to do. I'm doing it, but in a way that I never thought that I would be doing, being an author, a writer, artist, teacher, one who helps adolescents make a healthy transition from childhood to adulthood, an entrepreneur. I never, in my mind, never imagined me doing it in this capacity where it comes to freedom from trauma. Hey, Nicole, welcome. It's good to see you. You gotta message me your number. I don't have your cell number no more. Okay, let me get back to this. All right, so let's go back to a couple of responses. I'm not sure if you're here this evening, Miss Shanika or Shavia, but I will be tagging you all in this so you can catch the replay. The two of you, I'm going to use as an example because you actually responded and engaged the post that I did about, have you become your answer to the famous question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Miss Shanika, you had put no, because what you wanted to be when you grow up is a pediatrician. And I looked up what pediatricians do, and they're concerned primarily with the welfare, health, and development of children. A couple of things that they specifically do is perform regular health and wellness checkups, conduct physical exams, track children's physical, emotional, and social development, and they diagnose and treat illnesses, injuries, and other health conditions. From the amount of information, the little bit that I know about you, Ms. Shanika, from the times that we've engaged, is that you actually carry all of the characteristics as far as compassion, empathy, and care, to where you are still operating as a pediatrician, even though you're not a literal pediatrician, if that makes sense. And the reason why you have yet to come completely into your prophetic purpose for being here in the earth realm is because you've been who you are for everyone else but you. One of the things that I always teach is that we have to become the first partaker of our prophetic purpose for being here in the earth realm. So as Freedom Coach, I had to first become Freedom Coach for Nataushia before the Lord could position me to be Freedom Coach for others. Because when I'm being Freedom Coach for you all, it has to come from my place of abundance. It cannot come from a place of scarcity. So if I'm being Freedom Coach for Nataushia first, I know how to keep my cup overflowing in abundance. So that when I'm Freedom Coach for you all, I'm not experiencing burnt out or becoming resentful because you all don't have the capacity to reciprocate unto me who I am. I can't expect Freedom Coach from any of you. You're not me. So likewise, none of you can expect you from someone else. No one else in this earth realm is you. So you have to know how to be you for you first. And that is one of the reasons why you have yet to tap into, and I'm not just talking to Miss Shanika right now. I'm talking to those of you who are here live with the live broadcast, and to those of you who are catching the replay. You have yet to tap into your prophetic purpose for being in the earth realm, because you have yet to learn how to be you for you first. And why is that? Because one of the reasons that you're being you for everyone else and not you for you first is because you're still avoiding the introspection journey that you must go through. You're avoiding that suppressed pain and suppressed trauma that you must heal from to unlock who you are. And that was the turning point for me. Okay, I got tired of being on that rat wheel race thing, whatever. I got tired of going around in circles. I got tired of doing the same thing and different things, yet expecting different results, because I was relying on what Nataushia believes is best for me, what I thought I wanted to do with my life, the way that I envisioned that it should be. So, but when I came to the end of myself, and I said, you know what? At the end of the day, what's most important is my internal state of being. I was tired of my soul being in a place of unrest. And I said, Lord, what is in the way? Why can't I get into the fullness of your presence? Why can't I get to a place where you can form an habitation in me? I was tired of visitations, because it had me on a roller coaster. One day I'm up, the next day I'm down, depending on if I'm getting the visitation of the Lord. No, I wanted him to come in and inhabit, to dwell. And he said, you never dealt with Hurricane Katrina. And so I sought him to heal from that traumatic experience that put that blockage in the way for me having that connection. That was a significant turning point for me. And in that's how all of this unfolded. I was seeking him first for me. He was taking me through the process of healing and becoming and being Nataushia for Nataushia first. And then he positioned me to be Freedom Coach for you all second. So that is why some of you have yet to tap into your prophetic purpose for being as God said. before the foundations, before he put you in your mother's womb. So once you take the courage to face yourself in the mirror and be real, raw, authentic, transparent, vulnerable about all that trauma residue you carrying and that deep-rooted pain, and really get in the face of the Father for healing, then you will not only experience healing from that pain, but you will tap into the authentic you according to his will and purposes for your life. And when that unlocks, you will see that those things that you said you wanted to do when you were a child, that you dreamed of becoming and doing when you grew up, that you are that person today. It just may be slightly different than how you envisioned you would be that. Does this make sense, you all? Please let me know in the comments. Next up, Miss Shavia. You were someone else who engaged that particular post when I asked the question, have you become the answer to the famous question? Have you become your answer? And you said that you are. The more you go through your healing, like it's uncovering, and that one of your answers was teaching, but when you were a child, you didn't necessarily have the language to know that that's what it is that you desired to do. And so when I was sitting with the Lord with that, what came to me is that he is positioning you to teach order, structure, protocol, and procedures that facilitates systematic consistency and flow. So you are a teacher with an administrative gift, and that's what he's been doing as he's been healing you, is really because you embody order, structure, the standard. You embody that. And so that is what it is that you will teach. You will help people put in place systematic structures to maintain order and consistency among groups of people. So that is what came to me in response to your two responses when you engaged in that chat. Are there any questions for those of you who are here for the live broadcast? As you can see, these first couple of segments, we was just kind of warming up. I just warmed up. Now Freedom Coach completely on the scene now. Any questions? All right. For those of you who catch the replay, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and I will reply to those questions even later. Okay. So lastly, what I want to share with you all as I get closed out, as I remember to actually do a what do you call this? The announcements. I want to let you know that I have an intensive coming up. And it is Got Grief virtual intensive. So if you visit my website on the home page, you will see the flyer for it. And when you click on the button, it'll take you to register for it. And it's only $40 to register. And that particular session is limited to 12 attendees. So sometimes, you know, it may not be depression, or it could be depression, but sometimes the heaviness that we may feel in our spirits could be misdirected grief, unidentified grief that we are not engaging or have the tools to navigate well. So with that particular virtual intensive, I'll just be giving you some tools to identify your grief scars and how to engage them. Because the thing about grief, it just comes in waves. That's another roller coaster experience. One day I'm on top of the world. The next day it's like the world on top of me. And and we have to give ourselves grace in our humanity and allow ourselves to have those natural human responses as we are navigating the grieving process. So that is something that I have coming up later on this month, and the information and the link to register is available on my website. So that is all that I have for now. As always, I'll be sharing another post to engage you all with this content. So make sure you follow my Facebook fan page, and I will see you all again tomorrow. I thought we were going to go into one of these other segments, but we had to come back and revisit the famous question for part 2. So tomorrow, maybe we'll talk about that topic. I wish I was white. We will see. I don't know. I don't know. We will see what the Lord tells me to talk about on tomorrow. All right. Peace and freedom, you all. This is your Freedom Coach Nataushia Miller signing off until tomorrow.